another words that's coming to my mind. So, sir, thank you so much for coming in. And I'm sorry, I forgot. He's also the CEO and founder of Fuji. So, sir, thank you so much for joining us today. And we are really looking forward to hear back from you your insights on how leadership from the forefront looks like. And of course, we'll then later we'll pass on the mic to our students for any questions. Please join us, sir. And joining him will be Mohit, who will be leading the moderation part. Yes, please, sir. You can use this mic. You can use this mic, it's already in.
Okay.
So we'll be adding this mic to your collar.
Okay.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. And secondly, so we welcome you on behalf of the entire team of Bauer and the cohort 2, which has joined us for the next 4-month journey with us, right? So it's going to be a very interesting conversation because students also would like to understand how the leadership has shaped up over a period of time, and from the beginning to the topmost levels, how the leadership evolves over a period of time as well. So, sir, would like to hear from you as well. The first question is, what does leading from the front mean to you as a founder and executive?
So I just would like to understand first your background and a little bit about, at least about the background of the people, okay?
Right.
So I know we can do this rapid fire later.
Right.
How much time we have? 45 minutes?
We have a good 45 minutes with us.
45
Yes,
minutes.
yes.
Okay.
So, sir, firstly, I'm currently working as a head of growth at Bauer, and having 12 years of experience in various strategical positions, working with Masters Union for the last 3.5 years previously, and then did my graduation from IMT Ghaziabad, and this has been my journey so far. Yeah.
Okay.
So Bauer, I have been a part of Bauer for the last 8 months, and currently leading the and the venture capital program. We are about to start in the month of September. So first week of September is the orientation for the venture capital and private equity program as well.
Sure. So from the group, how many of you come from the business backgrounds, and how many are actually, when I say business background, your parents or the family doing business, and who are actually starting absolutely new? So you have a prior business background. Okay, so rest are all fresh. Okay, on the group. Okay, great. Okay, let me give a brief background so that you can also ask questions in the end. I know
Yes.
they have some textbook questions for me, which I did not do great, by the way, in my education. So anyway, so I'm a mechanical engineer, graduated in 1992 from JNTU Anantapur. Always wanted to be an entrepreneur, even while I was studying. There are strong reasons why all of that. I'll come to that later, but always wanted to have the control over my journey, the money, and what we can build. So started my career as an R&D engineer in solar photovoltaics. Dabbled with at least 2 startups in the energy space between 92 and 97. Then failed a few times. 97, 98, joined Shekhar Kamala. He just came back from US. I helped him make his first movie, Dollar Dreams. Spent a couple of years, just quit everything and produced, released, distributed. Then learned few IT skills, went to US around 2000. Just hated doing IT. But tried to survive, and then I realized I can't program. So what I did is I started an IT solutions company. So between 2003 and 13, we built one of the leading test automation companies, which is called Gallup Technologies. So we were acquired by a public listed entity. And I took a 2 years break and came back, moved back to India. I thought I've retired and went to my village, adopted the village and transformed it as a first model village in Andhra Pradesh state in a span of 4 years. So which means there is a government criteria. There are 20 non-negotiables that you have to meet over a period of 3 years consistently, starting from drinking water to the homes, access to health care, education, several things like that. And then I got bored, so came back and started this company, current company called Fuji. We just celebrated 11 years of our journey, but along the way, we also built, because my energy was my passion, so we built 2 companies in the renewable energy space. I was the majority owner, but I picked a couple of my employees, made them CEOs, and they built and sold the companies within a span of 3 to 4 years. So total we sold 2 tech companies, 2 energy companies. This is my 5th company that's happening, that's going on right now. So I see Fuji as a, what do you want to call it? An aircraft carrier. Like it keeps going for the next 10 years, 15 years. We will adapt to the new technologies, how things are going to change. Having said that, we'll also make aircrafts on the ship, depending on the situation. Means basically we will have startups within our own umbrella. So I have 3 startups going on right now. One in the energy tech space, one in the supply chain space, another one is in the text to video and voice to video space. So all these startups are within the company. The people who are running it are my own employees, but they have a stake up to 33%. And they spin off within 12 to 18 months. So we have clear guidelines when they spin off. They have to be profitable on a running basis. Then they spin off. Their core engineering team cannot be more than 8 people. Rest all is going to be supported by Fuji. Either it is HR, marketing, support, even sales to begin with. First 5 clients will bring them. Then they have to figure it out. The team will take off and run with it. So this is just to give you a context of, so that you can also ask me relevant questions. I may not be able to give you too much of vocabulary, management and all of that, but I'll tell you real life business.
I think, sir, we all are here to listen to the real life experiences that you have had, since it's a very long journey and a very very deep kind of journey that you have gone through over a period of time itself, right? So, my first question is, how does leading from the front, mean to you as a founder and an executive?
Sorry. So to me, a founder has the responsibility to build the team, keep them motivated, align them with the purpose, make sure that it is relevant and profitable. So that's what it is. As a leader, I believe the more I can convey the bigger goal or the purpose. No, I'm not talking about the financials. I'm not talking about yearly goals or sales targets. I'm talking about the bigger picture that I can give will give I would say, a lot more energy and collaboration, or it will drive the collaboration within the team. So that's my preference. Okay. Yeah.
So we would like to understand more about when you entered into this particular entrepreneurship space, right? When you started from the first company, became a leader and, thought of various leadership skills and worked upon those particular skills as well. And now to the fifth company that is currently being built, right? How has the leadership, decisions and the skills evolved over a period of time?
First of all, I have not thought much. Like you all said, इतना management skills, leadership skills के बारे में इतना नहीं सोचा. How do we survive? How do we grow? So that was the fundamental this thing. But with each day and each failure, you learn what not to do. Okay? So in my journey, if somebody says, "What did you learn?" I definitely learned what not to do. I can call out any situation. A lot of times you are interviewing somebody for a particular role. We can get blinded by our biases. Okay, so I've just interviewed one guy. In fact, he works for one of the large companies. I was scrolling. I was thoroughly impressed. I know he can make a difference, 100%. He is underpaid in that company. I went ahead, he didn't even ask how much. I gave him a 130% raise in his pay in the overall package without asking. I could have started with 50% because I felt he is underpaid, and for the work that he can do and the title I wanted to give, I wanted him to be paid that much. And I ensured that he doesn't take it like maybe I should have asked more. So we did whatever the conversations. I have a very strong TA leader and HR leader. I gave them how to even communicate that package and everything. Said that. Then I see this guy coming back asking for small things which actually are menial. Came back like 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 relocation, this, that. So it is. Just do it, a couple of things, no big deal. Then he will write to me separately, I just need this small change, I don't want to bother, if you're okay. I said, please do it. So I kept overlooking again and again because I believed this guy, he has the talent. Even today I can tell he will succeed. But my team, then he was going to, the sales leader he is going to report into in US, asked for something. He went to HR, asked for something. He went to TA, he asked for something. Talent acquisition. Then they raised a flag 3 days ago and came and said, we are not sure if he's fit for our culture. We expect this kind of a role. He's a VP, business development, to be based here. Whether he'll fit our culture, he may be a great guy, but we have this thing, we have this thing. So I asked them to, I know the answer, but I asked them to discuss, and they said we are going to pull out his offer. So they pulled it. But what I mean to say is, as much as I told you that I have said yes to 2 or 3, I wanted to see the team to see what they're going to say. But I know the answer, and when I know those signals, with experience you'll know there are 1 or 2 things that you will say absolutely no. Whenever somebody tells me, I am only joining this company because of CEO, I don't want that guy in the company. He may be thinking that I am pleasing the CEO. No. If he's coming for CEO, then what about the rest of the team? He should be valuing the team, he should be valuing the company, he should be valuing what we do. And you're trying to tell me and tell others, I'm coming here not because of you, or that doesn't make any sense. So, with experience, I've learned that what not to do. When I say not to do, I can read the signals. You will come up with 1, 2, 3, 4 things. That whenever a flag raises, you go and make sure that you relate. But our biases can say, hey, this guy is good, somehow we want to. And my sales head said, kaise bhi isko leke aana. I said no. I mean, the team said, I didn't even say, I had to say no. TA guys said, HR said, no way we want to bring this guy. He will fail. He may take us forward, but culturally he will take us backward. So revenue wise they made a decision that he'll do well, but he will put the company backwards. So this is just to, if it makes any sense.
Right. So, sir, we have a very interesting incident that you have told us, right? So, would like to understand us any moment, right, that came in your life which shaped the core philosophy of the leadership in you during these years.
Not one moment, several for that matter. Okay. Yeah, there are moments that will make you go in a particular direction. About the leadership, I can't say there is one incident, but I've learned a lot of things. I used to be a workaholic, I still do, but I took a 10 years break, by the way, in between. I worked for not more than 20 hours per week for 10 years and then came back to my, now I work like 60 hours per week. Okay, so, so when I was young and I could work, I expected everybody to work like me. If they could work like me, they will have their own companies, right? Why should they work for me? I didn't have that knowledge. And I am ready to be the perfectionist. I am ready to judge people. So there were several occasions, without going into details, I can tell you that it came as a shocker to me that I was expecting things from people that I was not doing myself. So you will know that. So that's all I can say. So that when I got that realization that I'm expecting too much from team members, where I am myself, I'm not checking whether I am that. Second, I'm expecting too much from somebody who is coming here as an employee. As much as he can do all the things, he should be an owner of his work. Kuch bhi bolo. But before I expect, am I giving him all the things to make him feel that? And I was not giving that. So I was like, textbook mein bolte hai na, sab like, oh, culture baat kar sakte hai, but have I created that? Have I created a very fair, open, environment where somebody can just really, first of all, does he have even clear guidance on what he has to do whenever he's stuck? So that's one of my biggest realizations. So nowadays, I give a lot of space to people. I don't mind if somebody did not do well, as long as I knew they had a great intent and they're committed and they have performed better earlier. And there was a reason. So I don't mind taking time to understand and give them more time, space, guidance, support so that they come back. And majority of them have come back with flying colors if you give that space. But that recency bias, that means you always judge somebody by what you have seen in the last 2-3 months. So that is one of the things that made a huge difference for us.
Sir, I'm sure that during this journey, there are everyday decisions that we have to take, right? And there are some high-stake decisions, there are some low-stake decisions, right? So we would like to understand from you any high-stake decision that you have taken, and what was the approach that was guiding you behind taking that particular decision?
So again, see, entrepreneurs go by the gut. A lot of times you don't go through too much analysis, right? Either it is very high risk investments, but one of the major decisions I have taken is basically shutting down a business. And it's very difficult to, if you have gone too far, it's difficult to say that because you are so many ways you are obligated, socially, family wise, investment wise, employees wise. Okay, so, and perception in the market is like I was doing well. So this was back in 97, okay, in the solar energy space. But when I realized this is not going anywhere and it's a huge hole that keeps draining every month, and it's not going to take me to the whatever anywhere. So I just made a one-day call and made a decision to shut down the company. Okay. we had several employees at that time. I've sunk a lot of money in that space, and I only know that to do. I don't know anything else to do at that time. I was a solar engineer. But that was probably the big decision I made, and I keep going back to that decision whenever I have to make. So it's not like, you would have spent a lot of money hiring an engineer or somebody very senior guy. You would have done a lot of experiments. This is like, because you have done that, you don't have to drag it. So I'm sure you would have heard this in several forms and shapes. But if you can make that call, start fresh in spite of all the, whatever you want to call, unknown. Actually, it's interestingly, whatever you usually think, so much of baggage will be there if I shut it down, but nothing will be there. So only 10% will be there. It's all in your mind, rest 90%. So sometimes we just have to start fresh.
So, data is something that is there, helping a lot of companies in order to improvise on the decisions that they are taking, right? And in order to make best of the best decisions that they are taking currently. We would like to understand from you, for example, if in case the data is not accurate or the data is not completely there in front of you, and secondly, you have to take a high stake decision. How is your approach towards that particular scenario?
There is no approach. I listen to my gut.
Right.
That's it. What my heart says at that point. Okay.
Right.
So I will still tell you, with all my honesty. Sometimes data may be there 50% or 80%. You don't even know whether you have 50 or 90% data. We all can have enough Excel sheets and believe that that is the data. That data is as accurate as the people who collected it and where they are collecting, because anyway, all the data that is carried by most of these companies, 90% is anyway junk. It's not properly treated before it was uploaded or not used. Sometimes it may not be relevant. So I still think, at least as entrepreneurs, you still have to go by what data is available and make your, calls. So that's what at least I have done. So it didn't work for me in the early stages, but as I learned, it works for me now. So, yeah.
So we talked about failures, and we would like to understand more about how the failure shapes the real leadership quality of a particular person, and any experiences that you have had in your in your life regarding the failures that shaped your future leadership roles and definitions.
Yeah, tons of them. So there are lots of failures. Starting from I started my first venture was I was growing mushrooms back in 1993. I'm a mechanical engineer, worked as an R&D engineer in solar photovoltaics. But when I quit, I went and started farming mushrooms. I really liked when I saw the first mushroom bloomed in the small farm that I created. I still believe that was probably one of my happiest moments. It's almost like you have a baby. So you can get fascinated by these things, and the mushrooms those days were being sold for 12 rupees a kg, and the chicken was about 21 rupees. And the vegetables were between 3 to 4 rupees per kg. Mushrooms are treated as vegetables typically. So if you are trying to sell them at 12 rupees, because your cost, it will be almost 7-8 rupees to produce something. So we failed miserably because nobody wanted to buy mushrooms. This was the early days of mushrooms, and oyster mushrooms, not like these button mushrooms that you see in the restaurants these days. Okay? So, and I tried to sell door to door, and it didn't work properly. And end of the day, I used to have more than half left. So I go and dry those mushrooms. So 10 kgs of mushrooms will become 1 kg of dry mushrooms. Then somebody said you can say export it to some countries, Singapore, whatever. So he started heaping them because you can't sell now. You talked about some, you know, some dream of exporting this to. You're too small to export anything. Your conditions are not good. Either it is in terms of the way you can store or dry or pack. Then somebody will come and give you some seminar, you know, bring all the mushroom guys. We all pay 1,000 rupees and go and listen to him about the future prospects. Basically, his prospect is collecting that 1,000 rupees. There is no prospect in the mushroom industry those days. So, that dried mushrooms used to be sold for 30 rupees. That means what could have been the 10 kgs. So now, what I was supposed to sell for 12 rupees became 3 rupees. 10 kg ka 1 kg ho raha hai, 30 means. So it is like a lose-lose kind of a situation. So it took, so that taught me economics, not my economics, science or whatever. I realized before you get into any industry, you should have something called a margin. I got excited about the mushrooms and the prospects of mushrooms in the world, but not about what a small farmer can sell. So this is just to give you one example. When we actually made Dollar Dreams movie along with Shekhar Kamla, so it took about 14 lakhs to make that movie back in 98, April. So we went and released it in Sangeet Theatre those days. I was taking care of the business. Secunderabad Sangeet, and then Narayan Guda. There's one movie called Sai Kishore Theatre. So together we made 2.5 lakhs. But when you open the show, basically you have to pay a certain fee to that particular theatre per show. It was making about 50% occupancy, but 40% you pay to the theatre. You basically don't make anything. Not even sometimes the gum you use for, you know, sticking the posters. So, yeah, these are all failures. We realized you can't drive a movie. So at that time, I and Shekhar used to talk like, and we went to the colleges, we tried to explain them what this movie is about. Nobody cares. Okay, we were trying to sell them, we shot this in CBIT, you should come and see. They are in CBIT, why would they come CBI? Come and sit on the screen by paying money. Yeah. Nobody cares. It's like, oh, I'm your senior, Shekhar was explaining. So I used to sit in the back, he was speaking to the students. First of all, they are lost in their own world, even when they did not have cell phones, by the way. This is 98. And we realized that, you know, you should build something or make a movie where they will come and fight to get the tickets. Okay? Where we should be able to put a houseful board outside those gates. And I want to see those houseful gate, you know, those gates for, those days they used to hang. So that's a dream for a producer, by the way. You know, you want to go there and you want to have people come and tell I didn't get the tickets. So we had that in Happy Days. Later in, by the way, I've co-produced up to Life is Beautiful. Okay? So along with Shekhar, Happy Days, Godavari, Anand, all these movies. So you will realize some things and it will hit you about whatever the service, product or a movie you can make, that people should get up and feel like they should go and have it. When they use that product or a service, they should be able to talk to at least 3 people in the first week. Then otherwise, you have not done a decent job. So, yeah.
So how do you align your business vision with creating social impact or ecosystem level impact?
I don't align anything, let's be honest. Business is basically for creating wealth. Okay. Having said that, I do hire some people because we are in the technology business. I do hire freshers, especially 30% of them from all this socially behind, or rather I would say economically behind kind of regions. Like I would go to Srikakulam, Vijayanagaram, Parvatipuram, Bobili. I pick from that area one batch of 30 students. We train them for 6 months I pick them from all the government colleges, but merit is a must. They might not be speaking the fluent English and all that. Like my top programmer is a MA Maths guy from a government college in Vijayanagaram. Okay, so I do those things. That's the only alignment I do. But otherwise, I don't see these two as too much of, somehow I have to fit one into the other. I don't do that. You create wealth, then you have a purpose. Then you go and spend that money. So I was meeting one of the doctors actually last week, referred by MSR. Brilliant guy. He has come up with whatever. He is called a rehab doctor. He knows how to strengthen the heart. There are a lot of job offers he has from the corporate hospitals. He started his own entity. He's an entrepreneur trying to come up. There is demand for that, but he's again seeing a lot of people who need help that he can also do. So then he said, what should I do? He just came for a general meeting. So I told him, stop helping the world first. Help you, because this is what I've done before. I mean, I tried to do too many things. Like people, itna alignment ka zarorat nahi hai. If you have money, you can do anything. If you have power, you can do anything. Okay? So first we created, the moment you have the ability to, spare money and time, then you can have teams to do those things. Like yesterday, I sent you the video. I was with Chandrababu Naidu in our village. Of course, I adopted a village, by the way. I told you about the model village and all that. It's not about writing a check or supporting one program. That's not going to go too far. So you have to look at the sustainability. So we adopted this village 10 years ago. It is still the best model village in the state. And right now, Chandrababu Naidu came in and said, we are now starting a P4. P4 is public-private people's partnership, where the top 10% of the strata, like people who can afford, should come and adopt families in the down 20% and help them mentor, guide, pay, whatever it is. So if you heard that conversation, I just told him that it's up ठीक है, but I said, please come and see what we have done. Okay? Of course, again, in one of his programs, Smart Village, Smart World program. So, and they called me. It's not like, they called me for this meeting because they have seen what I've done in the last 10 years. They know that, and yesterday I announced 1 crore of rupees for that program for P4. Okay, so not to get the appreciation. What I mean to say is I could do that, and I have a team that went in this morning. So people we have adopted only yesterday. That families, the team is already going and meeting them, spending time and all that. So I am very sure I had 2-3 more people who adopted this thing. But I can tell you they'll take 10 times more time than me because I've been already doing that. I could do that because I sold 4 companies, created enough wealth, and took time. As I said, last 10 years, I've not spent full time. That's why I said time. You need time too. You cannot just get done things only with money. So if you can create the time, space, and enough wealth, then you can do all these social angles. You can become a Rajya Sabha member also. They come and give you awards, rewards. Okay, if you are a little more, PR guy, then you can spend X and get 10X also. So anyway, I'm not part of those things, but I'm still telling you. Yeah.
So a lot of young entrepreneurs would love to hear from you that what advice would you give to these founders, right, so that they can create companies with long-term impact?
Yeah, so first of all, create companies that will have a long-term impact on yourself and your families. So what that means is basically have companies that are profitable. Okay, so separate this impact from personal impact and social impact. Okay, create your own whatever you want to call freedom. I would say a lot of us go by, which I've gone through, let me put it this way, I'm not trying to judge anybody. See, you believe in something, you go and ask somebody, you're always seeking, because a lot of us want to be good students, that's how we come up with, and you like somebody because of other factors, not necessarily about their own brain power or what he is good at advising you. Okay, so because you like one, this is like, you like a mama, but he doesn't know anything about your business, but you follow his advice. So you should be able to separate those two things, personal likings versus the guidance you are getting from the right source. That is one. Coming back to, I don't have to answer the exact question, but all I want to say is, any business, if you don't have a minimum of 40% margin, just don't do it. Because what is 40% will become a single digit in the end. Okay. If you are starting with 20%, 15%, it's not going to go anywhere. You should do 20% or less for a strategic reason. That means you want to open some doors, you want to do something, but you are sure that something else will come because of this. That too in the next 24 months, then you should do it. Not like after 10 years, I will learn this. Okay, nahi hoga. And lot of us go by, I have seen typically, of late, now we're all, all these social media, champions. Okay? So if I see some profiles these days, LinkedIn, just for the jobs, okay. So you think that, it's difficult to get that kind of, whatever you want to call professional in this world, the kind of adjectives that they can use, all that. Because with ChatGPT, that can help you look like, you are like Tom Cruise. Okay, so though we have a family pack, it will show like a 6-pack. Okay, so the minimal exposure and engagements you can do beyond your clients will give you a lot of time and focus. Okay, so a lot of us are caught up in this, our social, this thing, humko kya hai, LinkedIn mein dalna hai, Instagram mein dalna hai. Whatever you do, in the business, I'm talking about purely business. So then those likes are not going to get you a single rupee or single dollar. So ultimately, if you can go and do a POC, a small POC, doesn't matter what is the size, don't do free POCs. Even if somebody pays you 5,000 rupees, that guy is valuing your time and their time. If you do free POCs, the output you will get, or feedback you will get, has zero value in my opinion, which I have done hundreds of those, by the way. That's why I'm saying. There is a way to do that payable. Okay? If you are convinced, they will pay.
Sir, a lot of founders during their journey realize that there are some things that could have been done very differently while starting a particular venture. So, from your experience, since it's spanning across decades and multiple companies, and a lot of experiences have come in, we would like to understand more about, for example, if you get a chance to open a new company today, what are the 3 different things that you will be doing very differently from the previous ones?
Yeah. So I'll keep my team size very small, and how would I say it? Okay. I'm doing it already, by the way. As I said, this venture studios I call Fuji Venture Studios. So that's all defined based on my last 30 years of experience. So small teams becoming profitable in less than 12 to 18 months, size of companies not more than 6 to 8 people, and each of them have to be driving a minimum of $250,000 revenue. So those are some fundamentals that I expect for any company that I do, which I did not have before. So I have a clear view of the number of employees and what each of them will generate by 3rd year. Okay, either it's a product, subscription, service, solutions. Okay. Yeah.
Right. And so what is the blind spot that you feel that most of the early stage founders have? And how can the founders avoid this blind spot?
I don't know about blind spot, but I can tell you when I meet with the entrepreneurs, they talk so much about their product. Okay, so on the features. Okay, lot of times this you would have heard, they will not talk what does it mean to the customer. They will not talk about the impact, benefit from the customer's perspective. They may be thinking that I am speaking, but in my opinion, if you are trying to sell a product or a service, you should speak the language of a customer. Imagine that he is the customer and he is referring to another customer. What benefit he got and what experience he got by using that particular this thing. The more you know about your product, the less you will be able to sell. That means we tend to speak a lot more. Okay, and some of the biggest closures we have seen is when we stayed focused only on the customer benefits and not about how well we have architected, how many engineers, their CV, their biodata, their pedigree. So less we spoke about it, the more we focused on the customer and customer case studies and their experience. We closed really some good deals.
Right. And so what is your take on the current situation of the Indian startup ecosystem which is evolving? And what excites you the most? What concerns you the most? Would like to get details on this.
Yeah. See, we're still, in my opinion, an evolving economy, evolving startup ecosystem, especially. But we all try to somehow compare ourselves to the Silicon Valley ecosystem or Y Combinators and all of that. So Indian market works differently, especially if you are trying to focus on start here and sometimes you all think that you can go there. Or so we're not thinking like Indian startups, let's put it that way. That's what I would say. Most of the times we all see all this news in the media. This guy has raised something, this guy has sold something and all of that. So first of all, you all know, I mean, you would have heard or seen this. Raising money is not the end of the story. It's one milestone, gives you some comfort. But I've seen people, I mean, I've invested in a company, giving an example. They were our neighbors, they needed some help, they were building something in the logistics platform. They needed some money, I gave 50 lakhs. Then they gave me 10% stake because they couldn't pay. I said, okay. But when they made the product, I liked it. I took it to Adani Group. They really liked it. They put in 28 crores for a 20% stock, which means they valued the company at 140 crores. And we believed it had the potential to become a unicorn. 28 crores I was sitting right next to them, and 1 year company folded because they laundered the money. Okay, or whatever, wasted, and suddenly we saw somebody driving a Benz car, Mercedes. So money is not going to take you. Money can actually take you the other way sometimes, unless you know why that money was raised. So, so what was the question? I forgot.
So the question was, what excites you the most about the Indian startup ecosystem and what concerns you the most about it?
Yeah. So what excites me is just our own DNA, the Indian jugaad. Okay. So we all have our ways of doing things, figure it out. What worries me is also the Indian jugaad because we don't follow any procedures, any steps. And this is like, a Khadar Basha in some old city is a great technician of the motorbikes, let's say. But it's all intuition, right? You do that and everybody says Khadar is a great guy, you take him there, he'll figure it out. But his son will never learn what father has because he never followed any steps. उसका क्या है वो अंदर जा सकता है कुछ भी साउंड सुन के he knows what is the distance between the spark plug का or distance, but son will never get it. So we're all like that. Great entrepreneurs don't know how to build teams. don't know how to pass on all that, great qualities of the entrepreneurs to the next level, next this thing. So that's what it is.
Right. So one last question that all the founders who are sitting here would like to know from you. That, sir, in the very initial stages, it is very, very crucial for us to select people in the team who can support for the long-term growth of the venture as well. So what are the things that a founder needs to keep in mind while shortlisting the first few members in the team? What advice would you give to the founders?
Okay. So I would say, first of all, that trust is very important with the initial core team. And I will tell you, in 3 to 5 years, you will find at least half of them are not suitable for your rest of the journey. So don't worry about hiring them for 5 years or 10 years. Hire them for at least 3 years. Don't hire them for less than that. If they can meet your goals for the first 3 years, you are good. This is the same thing, right? You are starting a company worrying about the social impact. वो दोनों नहीं होगा. And you can't always pick. You're a startup. कितने बार मिलेगा आपको? 10 years में he'll become your CEO. नहीं मिलेगा. You should have enough stability, some traction, profitability, branding to hire the next set of leaders. That will happen after 3 years. 3 years after you start making the revenues.
So it's a very interesting conversation, and I'm sure all of you would have learned a lot from the conversation with sir. So now we will be starting with the rapid fire questions, right? So students would also love to learn, from you. That which is the one book every founder must read today?
So I would say probably Ikigai. Okay, I read several books. Ikigai is something that actually gives you a little more definition of your purpose and journey. But after a certain stage, you should read Dr. Ramcharan's execution book. Okay? After you have reached the second half of your journey, after 3 years. So first 3 years is different. By the way, Dr. Ramcharan is our board chairman, okay? The management guru, if some of you know.
So which is the one decision you wish you made earlier?
I don't know, honestly. I'm happy with whatever. You can't change some things. Okay? I'm good.
Answer one quote.
What is that? No? Not really. I'll tell some interesting stories later. So, yeah. What is the one decision you would have? Can you repeat the question?
So one decision you wish you made earlier.
Learned a little more about, financial planning, what is called a balance sheet, what's called, P&L. So definitely that one I should have learned earlier. I didn't learn for the first 10 years. Let me be honest. Okay.
And so which one quote that keeps you going?
One quote. So my mantra is this, right? This is by James Dean. Dream as if you live forever and live as if you will die today. Okay? So that's what it is.
So this is all, and I'm sure all the founders must have learned a lot from the experiences shared by Sir as well. And so once again, thank you very much on behalf.
No, I was expecting more interaction with them actually.
So, the mic is open for the audience, right? If in case you have.
Yes, please.
The 3 things that you see in a startup, in case you wish to invest.
Definitely founder's passion. And if I have to invest, these are the 3 questions. Founder's passion, whether customers can win with this guy or with this solution. Third is whether I can win along the way. So that's all.
So you build companies to sell, or it will get acquired like eventually? Like what is, because as you mentioning, so you're building and you're selling it.
So honestly, I did not build any time to sell, but they come and buy it. So even when that's why I said at least Fuji I want to keep it. It's like that's why I said aircraft carrier. But I keep selling those aircrafts. They fly off every year or two. Those are sold, but the carrier will go on. Fuji will stay. Fuji Venture Studio startups will get sold.
Hi sir, this is Chandrasekhar. I am founder of Progressive Canine at Doctoring and Food School. We are very excited about it. So one of the things that you were mentioning about giving leverage to the team so that they can recover or something like that. What if that mistake is costly?
No, you have to make that choice when you're giving that space. I'm not saying that every time you have to give. You have to see the cost of giving that space versus the recovery. What I mean to say, some cases you know that after doing all of these things, if it is too expensive, then you have to make the call early. So, but that's why I'm saying majority of the cases, it worked for me. My tolerance levels are high. When I say tolerance levels, I learned this at the second half of my journey. So I could afford also. I'm not saying that sometimes I may be losing on this person, but because I gave them the support, it would have gained a lot of trust on the rest of the team members. They may be compensating for him in terms of their own, output. Okay. So, yeah, in the first half you have to be careful. You're right.
Hello sir, as you said, you have adopted a village and made the changes in terms of made into a model village, right? I would like to know more about what were the major changes you did in education and healthcare sectors of that village.
Sure. Yeah. So basically, I adopted this village under a smart village program, or they call it a model village program. Government started this in 2015. So any amount that you can contribute, government will match at least equal. So I created $1 million fund those days, 7 crores. Government gave 14 crores those days. So 21 crores we used to transform 20 different non-negotiable criteria. When I say this is defined by the government. First of all, every house has to have the drinking water. Like that, there are some infra elements, about 1/3 of them. Then comes the needs of the people, either it is the education, healthcare, ensuring that there are no mortalities in the deliveries, the health of the people, all of those things. As far as the education and employment, you said? Healthcare. So we set up a primary healthcare center there, and then we attached it to a diagnostic center, and then a pharmacy where they could get it cheaper. More than the healthcare, because our village is only 5 kilometers from the main town, so we made a lot of changes in the education. So what I did, I adopted the 2 elementary schools and 1 high school. There was a very low attendance. These are all government schools. So we appointed teachers from Teach for India. I picked people from here, put them in our village. Of course, I've built a facility where I can host all these people. It's a 20,000 square foot space. I can house these trainers, teachers, take care of their accommodation, food, and all of those things. So and then we refurbished all these schools. When I say refurbished, it's not about the paintings and all that. We brought right curriculums. We brought all those educational kits as needed. We made every classroom a digital classroom. We brought projectors and the content so that people could go and learn in a much better way than the textbook. We have given them, they called it as a resources or whatever. They can read from the walls. Okay, we painted the entire school in a way that nobody can miss even tables up to 20th, because every pillar has those things. You see and you'll know every day. Okay, of course we brought a lot of changes in the sports and everything. So our schools became one of the government sends teachers based on the strength. So within 3 years, most of the schools had between 50 to 100 when we took over. Government gave us those schools, by the way. Then the admissions or the students became between 300 to 500 in each of these schools. So naturally government appointed more teachers and better teachers. They never had staff rooms. So we created staff rooms. We worked with the government to provide them a good midday meal, and it was all run by the villagers. This is not the regular midday meal that the government supplies. They would actually sell. In fact, we told this to Chief Minister also. They usually give bad quality rice. Those eggs, you don't even know whether chicken eggs or some small bird's eggs. So we made sure that every teacher has to eat the same food. So when there was a good food and kids, we could see they actually evolved, because most of these government kids come from very, very humble backgrounds. They need one good meal. So all of those things made a lot of difference. And today, all these schools are considered some of the best schools in the districts. Then what happened? Because the teachers came, suddenly our teachers, I appointed a lot of private teachers in each of these schools. They became jobless. So I started another school. Okay? So private school, which is what I was talking about. So now I have a full-fledged school from KG to 10th grade. It's more like a charitable school. They pay about 7,000 to 8,000 rupees average. It costs us about 30,000 rupees per kid for the education, books, and rest of the things. But it's equal to international standards. Our guys compete and win in most of the competitions across the Rayalaseema region and the district level. It's considered as one of the best schools for building the character there. So that's the education changes we have brought in. Plus, I've picked all the graduates, both engineering graduates and non-engineering, in the entire Rayalaseema area. We ran batches of 90 people for every 6 months. We trained them with a well-rounded program. First 3 months soft skills and some basic computer skills. Then we specialized them for the next 3 months. I took a lot of companies from here, and more than 500 people are working in several companies right now. Okay. So it's basically again creating the empowerment, and based on that again more people started going into those programs later. So now I have franchised, we don't do anymore, but I connect them to this thing. By the way, the purpose I'll tell you because you asked. So I've committed to take care of 1,000 kids in the next 10 years. When I say 1,000 kids, this is not about my school having 1,000 kids. This is from KG to PG. Till they get to a job or entrepreneurship or become independent, we'll support them. Between 50 to 80% of their fee. Okay, and guidance. It's not about just fee. We pick them based on their merit, not just that village, but in the entire Rayalaseema region. This is what we do. Okay.
Any other questions?
Hello sir, my name is Prashant. So sir, we have heard about and even me, I have seen that all the entrepreneurs who started out goes through their own fair share of failures. And you starting from like farmer to producing a movie, then coming into tech, you have done so many things in so many fields. So I'm sure like you have seen your own fair share of failures. So whenever a person sees this in his life, the morale completely goes down at a human level. So who is that one person that you have in your life, or one thing that you do to cope up with that and get back stronger?
So I have several, to be very honest. Okay, so that one thing I wanted to tell most of this new young generation is that you should have very, very strong relationship. Few of them, not too many, but at least some you can always share. That you cannot share with your spouse also, you should be able to share. Okay, that means the trusted friends or whatever you want to call the circle. So I had very, very strong, whatever my classmates, some people I have worked with, trust. Of course, Shekhar Kamala is one of my dearest friends. So he was a great sounding board. and there are at least 3-4 that I have always debated whenever I was at the crossroads, which direction I had to go. And some of these have written checks with no idea whether that money will come back. And some of them are very successful. And I've done the same for several people. Okay, so the reason why I'm saying this is, if I see why I had a good advice, good support, or even today I have support. By the way, when I say, you all may think that now I can afford. That's not the question. In business, you always need mentors, supporters. It changed how you just change the bandwidth. Or bands, I would say, not bandwidth. Today, I am being coached by Dr. Ram Charan, who coached Jeff Bezos, who coached Jack Welch of GE. Okay, and he is coaching probably the top 3 of the top 10 richest people in the world right now. Okay, so anyway, or 3 of the top 10 richest people. And then today on my board, I have people who ran multi-billion dollars companies extremely well, very, very efficiently. Not that I am going to build a multi-billion dollar companies in that distance. They trust me because of my values or what I stand for. And it is a outcome of a 30 years journey. It won't happen just because I sit on a nice dinner, I feed them something great or serve them some 30 years old scotch. That's not going to fly. It's a question of character, personality, values, and credibility that you can build. If you have those things, you will have that. A lot of us actually shortchange our commitments. A lot of us take our relationships so easy. We take shortcuts. I'm not saying the cheating, but we do take shortcuts because it's convenient, and we don't think it does matter to the other people that much sometimes. You could have committed something, you don't deliver, or so I'll give you a small example. I'll close. I know you're all coming to the end. I connected with my schoolmate who used to be my best buddy in the hostel. I'm talking about engineering days. So we called him Haule Shinu. Okay? He's a time pass guy, never studied anything. Okay? Always had a lot of subjects, but fun guy. Okay? Like cycle mein, I used to be the cricket team captain. So मेरा cricket kit लेके वो cycle पे छोटू है. I used to be tall, and I'm still tall. So, but he will put me behind and he'll keep doing this. So he's like my whatever you want to call chotu assistant. Very happy guy. Failed miserably. Never completed BTech. I was doing some real estate इधर उधर वो गुंतकल का बंदा है. Then he went to Bangalore, and because of his nature or something, he succeeded well in the real estate, whatever you want to call, plots selling. Oh, yeah. So somebody connected after 20 years. So we met and we had a great time and all of that. Then somebody in Bangalore needed some cash. Somebody needed help. Some US guys came in, they needed some help. So I said, Shinu, can you give the cash? And I put it in his account. So ho gaya. Then after 2-3 months, it was 1,000 rupees days. Those days 1,000 rupees ka notes tha. So, and they needed 10 lakh rupees. So these were 10 bundles, of which 2 were completely fake. 2 bundles. And I know this guy has not done it for sure. Because he's a real estate guy, somebody would have given, he would have given it. Then I said, Arey Shinu, ye 2 lakh ka bundle, it's fake ho gaya. I said, what can I do? This people would have given it, whatever it is. उसको बोल दो ये पेट्रोल पंप में इधर उधर देने के लिए types. So like that means you are cheating again. Somebody in the petrol bunk, रात को देने में. I said, oh, what a strange guy. But anyway, I gave the 2 lakh rupees. I just sent it because they needed 2 lakhs or 10 lakhs. Ultimately we gave only 8 because they paid me back in US. Then after 1 year he came and said, Manohar, I needed 2 crores of money for some real estate project. I said, I cannot give you. He said, why? I said, you never took responsibility for 2 lakhs. How can I give you 2 crores? Okay. So for him, because of whatever the transaction, and I can tell you he's not a bad guy. It doesn't mean bad because I know him for whatever. But the guy did not have the fundamentals to understand if I give something to somebody with whatever the value, that value has to be absolute. So if you can run the business like that, business will come to you, customers will come to you. And a lot of time, and he didn't even understand. He's like, oh, chota aadmi, why are you, and I need this desperately. I said, I cannot give you. I can give 2 crores donation to somebody today. I cannot give you this money as a loan because I don't see values or accountability here. You can come and I'll entertain you, but I cannot give you money. So, if that helps, okay?
Hello, sir. So my question is like, what is that moment or point, where you realized you can do big? Like, for example, like I felt, for me, there's a person called reference where I felt we are not normal here. Whoever like here as a founders, right? You should push that threshold of thought process or thinking. Hatke, you should. When did you realize that you can also do big? What is that moment? Like, if you can say.
So who made my thinking possible, you're asking?
Maybe, sir, who made, and then what is that moment you also felt that I can be there?
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying, I may not have those specific points and all that. So your confidence grows with each win, okay? So one thing I will tell you, what I have realized when I have met with people, let's say now I know, can you all hear me? Yeah. So I met with Dheeraj Pandey. He was here? Yeah, he was here, right? So when I meet with people like Dheeraj Pandey or even for that matter Gautam Adani or some of these people, again, I know Dheeraj well now. I've spent time with them. It's not like meeting for 30 minutes or an hour. I'm talking about several encounters. Now I know how they think, how they this thing. This is one thing I have realized and understood now. Okay, if it helps, just listen to me carefully. Either it is a 5 crores business, 50 crores business, 500 crores business, 5,000 crores business, the effort is going to be the same. The mental stress is going to be the same. It is just that you have to choose where you want to play. Okay. That's all I can say. Okay. So a lot of times, I'll close with one more. It's very difficult to raise 1 crore or 5 crores. It's easy to raise 100 crores or 500 crores. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much for taking me good, and thank you so much, sir, for being here. And I think this is, by far, we have done several firesides, but I think insightful and funny. It was both, so thank you so much for being, it was intense.
It was intense, yes.
What is that?
Quirkiness also was there, so thank you so much for being here, sir. Pawan, everyone has it.
Yeah. No problem. Thank you. Thanks for having me here. Okay. You have to hold me? Hold it like that? Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll see you then. Okay. Thank you. All the best for all of you. Thank you. Hi.
Let's quickly wrap up with the
Sorry.
presentations and we'll then move to our Come on. Or shall we have a group picture? Can we have a group picture here? Let's come. Group picture. I think यहाँ पर थोड़ा और शांत होना पड़ेगा.
All the bright faces should be visible. Sorry, 1 minute. क्या है अभी just 2 minutes each.
2 minutes.
It's done in less than like 20 minutes.
Yes.
For all of us.
Because 8 fills, right?
So we have to come.
Now made the presentation.
Prashant, I
Is it coming?
And you promised us. I pushed him.
Everything is possible. We'll make it do this today. No. Setting the expectations standard. Every weekend every day. I'll take it as a compliment. चार बच्चे पीछे से शांत खड़े हैं कुछ नहीं बोल रहे आगे वाले